All right, class. Hello, hello. Finally got this working. We are going to lecture today over inventory control. As a dental assistant, or even, not even as a dental assistant, but everybody in the office is going to play a role in inventory control. It is vital to the office running smoothly. If one person doesn't follow directions, then it can really screw it up for the whole office. Okay. It's also a good, like your patients, if you're constantly running out of things or having to reschedule them because you don't have a specific thing on hand. Oh, well, we'll get that ordered. And if you always hear that as a patient, then, it starts to question your ability to like properly run your practice. Okay. So it's not just, oh yeah, we need to order stuff. It's trying to anticipate your needs ahead of time and making sure that the doctor has what they need to fully treat every patient every day. Okay, so running out of supplies can create a definite unnecessary crisis. Sometimes when you start at a new practice or you start somewhere, or you're brand new to starting inventory, it takes a little time to kind of get the hang of it, to figure out what you need to order every month. But there are basics, kind of like bread and butter stuff. It's the same as when you're buying for your house or your family. You know that there are certain things that you guys are going to want every single time you go to the store. Like there's certain things that you just know are the staples of your house. It'll be the same. You have staples of your dental practice. Now, as usually the lead assistant or the office manager takes care of the ordering. It kind of drives me nuts if they have someone who doesn't or isn't clinical that handles the ordering because they don't see the urgency typically, because it's usually not anybody that's ever worked chair side. So they don't understand how quickly we go through supplies. They're more probably trying to stay under budget rather than actually getting what you need. So I like it when the lead assistant is in charge of the ordering for the back office supplies. I feel like that's the most efficient. But the key to effective inventory is to definitely establish an easy system and follow it religiously. When I started at my last office, he had this spreadsheet. And to him, it made complete sense. He had colors all over the place. He broke things down into category and he did this and he had the prices and he had all this stuff. To me, that didn't matter. I didn't care about any of that, but he was looking at it from a business standpoint, meaning he created the spreadsheet of everything that they use in the practice, the item number, how much it cost, but it would be something you would constantly have to update all the time. And we just did not have the admin time available to do that. So I kind of came up with a different system that worked for me. I think it drove him nuts that I didn't use the one that he made, but it was just not something that was efficient for me. So if your office is okay with that, I think it's best to kind of figure out what works well for you. But one thing is don't ever, ever, ever try and recall from on your memory. I can't stress that enough. Don't ever try and recall from your memory. Never trust your memory to recall counts, types, or anything. Like you need to write this down. If that means keeping something in your pocket, like a sticky note or a book, like an order book or something that you carry around with you all the time, then do it because it's totally worth it. It's just not, you'll mess it up. I promise. You'll either forget something, you'll order the wrong type, the wrong kind, the wrong unit, the wrong quantity. Something's going to happen. So don't trust your memory. Write everything down. All of the office staff, like I said earlier, contribute to ordering. One of my favorite systems of ordering is called the tag system. And what this is it's a system where every item in the dental practice has a tag. And when I say tag, I literally mean tag. Let me pull up a picture of it. And it's a very basic tag. It's nothing fancy. Usually looks like this. It's just a manila shipping tag, if it'll ever load the picture. Usually has a rubber band on it. On here, we'll say like floss. Okay, and let's say that the item number is 12-475. Okay, and we order this from Benco. And then there's 24 per case. That way you know. Okay, great. So that means what we're going to do is when we open up the last case, we'll wrap this around the last case when we're stocking it. When we open the last case, or maybe, even the last half a case, then we will pull this tag off of whatever it is and put it into a container that sits on the lead assistant's desk. And that way, when the lead assistant goes to order, she can just pull these tags and know, okay, this stuff is either we're out of or close to being out of, meaning we need to fill it ASAP. This will allow her to check the inventory to see how much is left and how much we need to order, and kind of go over everything from there on out. I love this case. This process, the only thing I don't like is it does take longer to stock everything, because then when you get your inventory in, you have to take these tags and put it on the next to last item, and then put it on the shelf. So if you're not putting it on the proper one when it gets put away, then sometimes it can screw things up. However, I just think it's very efficient, to be honest with you. I mean, I like few steps, easy, not something I need to think about or stare at for a long time. You just grab it and go. The other thing I like about this system is the tag system is it forces you to properly stock. So you're not like properly rotate everything. Anybody that's ever worked in inventory or grocery or food or anything like that, you pull the oldest front and then you put the new stuff in the back, which is kind of annoying because you have to pull everything off the shelf and then you have to stock the newest stuff in the back and pull forward. And the point of that is so we're never letting product expire. If you run low and you just keep putting the new stuff in the front, then you're never going to use that last one. So it just gets kind of annoying. But I really like this process. I've implemented it in several of the offices that I've worked at, and it's always been a hit and it's always worked well. I very rarely have any mess ups when I use this type of system. For me, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. I have to make sure that I have something visual to see when it's coming to inventory and stuff like that. So everybody plays a role because we are all using different products throughout the day. So the lead assistant is usually not in charge of ordering the front office supplies, and the front office is not in charge of ordering the back office, but sometimes it's a weird, setup or whatever, and they are. So this keeps everybody accountable, and just kind of like, if you take something, you need to make sure you're pulling the last one. But everybody has to pitch in and help. So what are the guidelines? What are some guidelines? Like it's a list here, guidelines for ordering supplies. You want to be prepared. There's going to be times when you're working with a patient and the doctor starts discussing this new thought process on how to treat something differently, and you're like, we don't have that. We don't have that. So it's new things that you're going to have to order. So being prepared and ready to place an order is vital. So keep something to write on close to you in your pocket, at all times. If they have, you want to ask your doctor if they have any special requests. If you start noticing them looking or browsing the internet, looking at new products or anything, be like, is there anything, I'm about to place an order, doctor, is there anything else that you need or want me to place or add to this order? We have this much left in the budget, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Just communicating with your doctor and asking, they will just love you to death if you do that, because it's having foresight and thinking ahead of time and being considerate. Review the history of the office. So I knew at my last job, after a couple of months of working there, and I knew that we would go through like 4 cases of gloves a month because we had 4 assistants and and it was an ortho practice. So we saw patients, like we were changing gloves all the time, 15, 20, 30 patients a day times 4 assistants. It goes quick, right? That's almost at least a box of gloves a day, at least 1 box minimum, probably 2 or 3. We would go through them fairly quickly so that you know that that's one thing that's like your bread and butter. You're going to need gloves, you're going to need masks, you're going to need sterile pouches, you're going to need, like all of these things is just your basics. So review the history of your office, ask the doctor. The lovely, lovely sales representatives will randomly stop by. I say that very sarcastically because sales representatives, for whatever reason, they only come by at the absolute most busiest time of day. And then they act shocked that you can't talk to them. It's like, no, I have a job. I am seeing patients. I'm working. I cannot stop what I'm doing and chit chat about your latest sterile pouch. No, I can't. No, I don't want to buy a $300,000 x-ray machine right now in the middle of 3:30 trying to see patients in the busiest time of day. No, I don't. So those I'm personally like that, but I know they mean well and they're just doing their job. And so I always ask, please schedule a time to stop by because I have very specific times and I get annoyed if I get pulled away for a sales pitch. I know they're just trying to help out though. So I try to stay calm and remember, they're doing their job just like I'm doing mine. So they will typically stop by regularly, semi-regularly, I say, because you might see them every single month for like 2 or 3 months, and then they disappear for 3 or 4 months, and then they come back. But you can always keep, a list of people that you want to talk to. I utilized my Outlook contacts for that for my work email. I would keep all of their contact information filled out there, so I didn't have to search for their information if I needed to reach them. Develop good relationships with your regular sales representatives though, because a lot of times they can slip in an extra discount here and there. The bigger discounts that you get and the more money you save for the practice equals higher bonuses typically. So if you can reduce and run very lean on your budget, it's the best thing to do. Be specific on what you need. It's easy. I don't know if you're like me, you can browse through Amazon and be like, oh, that'd be nice to have. Oh, that'd be nice. No, what do we need? What do we truly need? A healthy dental practice, I think their budget for inventory is usually around 5% of collections. A lean would be 3% of collections. So if you could, like at my last ortho, that was like, I don't know, $2,000 a month. And that was for brackets, wires, disposables, like everything, roughly. But I got it down to like, I think it was like 3.5%. Yeah, about 3.5%. So that I was pretty proud of that because that's a pretty lean budget. I was able to, get some discounts from some vendors and stuff like that. And so I was quite valuable in that aspect to be able to contribute that to the office. And that's something to be proud of, if you can help cut corners like that. So know what you need and how much it costs, and always check your invoices. Check your packing slips to what you actually get, because there's a lot of times where they might miss 1 or 2, or they miscount this or miscount that. And there were some times when here in Colorado, because it's packaged at a lower elevation, and when it comes here, the pressure, it's just like when you buy stuff at the store, but the pressure creates that bubble if it's sealed. Well, sometimes that'll rupture. And then, so for example, this happened with about 12 cases, 12 containers of Cavicide wipes. And a lot of the liquid spilled out in several of them, and they were starting to dry out. And I'm like, I'm not going to use 12 canisters before it dries out. Like, it's just not going to happen. And so they said, keep them. We'll send you some more. So what did I do? I saran wrapped those bad boys and I put the caps on them, and I made sure they didn't dry out. And so we basically got a free case of Sani wipes. So that was pretty awesome. So always talk to them. If anything is damaged, You can reach out to your rep and let them know, hey, this was damaged on the way there. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, I'll have so-and-so come pick it up. Or they'll say, you know, we'll send you a shipping label, or they'll just say, keep it, whatever it is. So that's always good. So develop those good relationships, know what you need, know how much it costs. If it's damaged, don't be afraid to speak up. Make sure that when you are asking for specifics, give the actual item number listed on their website or out of the catalog. How many that you want, and you need to look at the units. Is it, do they ship this per case? So don't say like, okay, I need like, give me 2 of those. 2 of what? Do you want 2 500 case things of floss, or do you want just 2 pieces of floss? Like, you have to know what your unit is that you're ordering. The biggest example of this is when you go to order on walmart.com for your grocery order and you pick bananas. Some places do it per bunch and some do it per banana. So my friend, it cracked me up. He thought he was ordering 5 bananas, and he got like 5 bunches of bananas. And so he had like 20 something bananas. And he gave them to me because he's like, you make banana bread, right? Here, take some bananas. And so it just made me laugh. So you have to pay attention to the units and how it comes. Know the specific size, the brand name. Do you know, is it the one that's 20% more? Is it this or whatever? So you have to look at all the aspects and really investigate the price to make sure that you're getting the best deal. If you have the correct catalog number, how many you want, you know, all of this information, it's going to speed up your ability to place your order and make sure you're getting exactly what you need. Because here's what you don't want to happen. You don't want your doctor to say, okay, we need this. Let's make sure we have this on a certain day. So you go and you place an order and you think you did everything right. It shows up the day before your patient's appointment, and now you don't have what you need. That's no good, because guess what? That means you have to reschedule your patient. Is your doctor going to be happy? Absolutely not, because you could have potentially lost the practice, whatever that production is, assuming that we don't make the patient mad and they decide to go somewhere else. Okay. So again, it trickles downhill. We need to make sure that when we're ordering, we know exactly what we're getting, confirm it. If you're not sure, call them. If you're placing an online order, you can make a phone call, you can reach out to your rep, you can send an email, whatever. Just make sure you're ordering it accurately. Be on the lookout for any specials or true savings. Sometimes you can save a lot of money if you order in bulk, but the things you need to consider if you're ordering them in bulk is going to be, can we actually use this before it expires? Will it expire? Will it last? Will it dry out? Will it, like, is it going to actually be a savings if we end up having to throw some away? Like, does it even have an expiration date? Maybe the doctor's, if he's borderline or she is borderline on this product, saying, yeah, I don't know if I really want to keep using this, then don't order it in bulk. Obviously, continue to just order as needed. And don't, even if it is a good deal, you can even run it by the doctor. Say, hey, are you thinking about switching products? Because I saw this deal on this and I don't want to order it if you're thinking about switching from it. And they'll be honest with you. And that might be the little nudge they need to make the jump to something different, if that's what they're thinking of. The other thing is, do you have somewhere to keep it? Don't order 12 cases of toothbrushes just because you get a deal if you have nowhere to store them. We can't leave boxes of toothbrushes in the reception area or, whatever. So if you have a small office, that's something to consider as well. Definitely never, ever, ever change brands without the doctor's consent. In this case, sometimes I'll ask the doctor, do you like the specific products, or do you just like, for example, there's polyvinyl siloxane, which is an impression material. Do you care who it comes from? If they say no, then great. You can order, a different brand. But sometimes doctors are kind of brand snobs. They want to make sure that they know the product that they're getting, because you want that reliability, that consistency, that predictability, and knowing you don't want a poor product to make you look like you're not doing a good job as a dentist. So asking about the change in brands. You might see something's on sale, but you can say, this one's on sale. Are you okay with me ordering it? This one is not where it says here, establish good credit with supply houses. This is not really, doesn't really apply to us like per se, because as dental assistants, we're not accounts payable. We don't pay it out. That would be more for the front office staff or whoever's doing the accounts payable. That's their job to set up the good credit and the payment information. Like those accounts should already be set up. Also, do your own research. The doctor is going to keep up with new product information, but you might hear something out there that you're like, holy cow, that's an amazing product. And then bring it to your doctor. And you can just say, hey, have you heard of this? And be like, that would be so awesome if we could use that in our practice. Or, I don't know how much it costs, but I was just curious if you've heard of it. And just doctors love when you reach out like that and try and talk to them. So spark up conversation with them. You don't have to be afraid to talk to them because they're just people too. Yeah, they went to school for a long time, but they're people too. Just be respectful. That's it. There are other ways of inventory control that you can do. You can have the card filing system. This is just where it has order cards. This one is a nightmare in my opinion, but again, everybody has their own preference. This might make sense to a lot of other people. It doesn't necessarily to me. But so basically in the card system, you would have a 4x6 inventory card, one for each item, and they're filed alphabetically. They're divided into two different sets and they separate it from clinical, so front office, back office, basically. And sometimes they're cross referenced because like somebody in the back office might use the same thing as the front, but they also might like be for brand names or different like generic descriptions. On these cards, it's also the order information. So the item name, the order quantity, reorder point. Like when we get, this is just a lot of information to like keep up with and write down. In my opinion, this is like the spreadsheet that I had at my last practice. It's just reading this just gives me anxiety. Columns. It'll have columns for the date that you ordered it, how much, when did you receive it, what did you pay for it, is it a prepaid account or is it on credit? Then you're supposed to count your inventory monthly. I'm going to be truthful to you guys. We don't have time to count inventory every single month in the dental office. It just doesn't happen. You don't get admin time typically. So there's no way you're going to have enough time to count every single burr, every single floss, every single prophy head. I mean, it's just not possible. It'll have all of the order sources. So like for example, you might be able to get one product at Benco and also at Henry Schein and yet also at GAC, for example. So you might have 3 vendors that you could use. And so you can write down, that's where you can get these items. Now that's a good idea. I like having it where you can say, oh, where can I order this? Oh, well, I can get this from American Ortho, or I can get this at GAC, or I can get this at RMO, like whatever those companies are. So you need to decide based on how long it takes you to get your product, what your reorder point is. Meaning, is it when you pull the last one? Or is it when you pull the third to last one? Or the next to last one? What is it? And it'll be different for every item. So like, let's say when you open the third to last Sani wipe or Cavi wipe, you're going to want to go ahead and order, because if you have 7 operatories and there's only 3 left, I guarantee you that you're going to go through that whole canister of them by the time the new one gets there times 7 ops. So you have to think ahead. Marking, again, the reorder point can be done with reorder flags. So it could be the tag like we talked about. Or you can use anything like an actual red flag, or you can, I don't know. There's a lot of different things out there like stickers or sticky notes, or I don't know. You can use pretty much anything to mark the reorder point. Again, here it says on those cards, it's saying place a tag on the corner to indicate the item should be reordered soon, and then move the tag to the opposite corner when it's actually been placed. remove the tag when it's been received, and then check once a week for any needed items. That's just a lot. I mean, we don't have time to move tags or move this or move that. You either pull it off and throw it in the bin, or, move on. We do always have to take time that when we receive the order, we have to check what came in the box to the packing slip, because there's human error. We need to make sure the materials are correct, the quantity's correct, that it's not damaged. After you do that, if you're using the system for the cards, you're going to locate the control card, correct the materials, write down the changes, notate any price changes. I mean, this is just a lot of paperwork, and we just, now in dentistry, we don't have time to do this. This was made a long time ago. There's a much faster way to do it. If you happen to even have an iPad or something with you, you'll be able to, use Excel spreadsheet on there, but it's a lot. For inventory and supply control, usually that you'll have a list somewhere, usually like on the inside of a cabinet or something, and in that we'll have specific information. So the other thing too is, if you're out, you need to make sure that somebody else knows how to order for you, because you don't want the doctor or anybody being stuck because you weren't there for whatever reason. So having it set somewhere where everybody knows where it is helpful. Some people like to keep a running inventory, meaning like every time you take something out, you need to cross it off and mark a new one. But again, we don't have time for that. You don't have time to go over to a spreadsheet and subtract something off when you take a new this or that. It's too much. There are different categories of supplies, and they're going to be separated into those categories because they pay different taxes on certain categories. They have different, it has to do with their tax, like the way they process their taxes at the end of the year. So expendable, the category of expendable, it costs less than $50. It's replaced in less than 3 years. And the amount purchased is obviously going to be relative to the doctor. Non-expendable is going to be more than 50, never expires. And for example, it would be something like instruments, exam tables, office equipment, dental chairs. All of those things would be non-expendable because you're not going to throw it away, right? Unless it breaks or there's a real problem. Repairs, repairmen are usually $45 to $60 an hour. Before you're going to learn how to troubleshoot stuff, guys, so good. Before you call someone out, and that's on the cheap end. This was a long time ago. It's more like $120 per hour now when they send somebody out, depending on what company you use. But you want to make sure, is it plugged in or did it accidentally get unplugged? Did I turn it on? You'll be surprised. How often? No. Check the fuse because it can blow fuses. So like ultrasonic machines, sterilizers, all of those things might have a fuse. And then check for a reset button if there is one. So go above and beyond, kind of troubleshoot, look at it, try and figure out how to put something together to, if it's not working properly. I learned how to work on chairs that way because, again, at my last practice, the high-speed handpiece cradle would occasionally get loose, and then it would like fall off. But then it would cause some of the other things to get loose, and then they wouldn't work properly. So I learned how to work on the chairs, because if we didn't, we'd have to send somebody out. And it would be like $100 and something every time they came out. I'm like, this is stupid. This is ridiculous. We're not going to keep doing this. So I figured out I just watched him one time when he was in, so then I didn't have to call him back anymore. So, do troubleshooting, making sure kind of how to put stuff back together. We need to make sure we have proper storage for all the supplies once their order arrives. They need to be accessible but protected. We don't want them sitting out all over the place. We have, different aerosols in the air. We don't need things landing on it. So it does need to be protected. We don't need to keep it in the sunlight, in the hot temperatures. If it's sitting on a table through a window and the sun's shining on it, it's probably going to break down pretty quickly. Drugs in any types of solutions should be kept in a cool and dark cupboard, if not refrigerated, depending on the product. It can cause breakdown of the material, so it won't be as strong or as good as it would have been if it wasn't. It can actually cause it to completely fail the product. And you should always organize it categorically. We can never sell samples. I know it's tempting, but you can't sell samples. You need a cool, dry location for things like it's any type of cotton. So gauze, cotton rolls, bandages of any sort, developer and fixer if you're in an office that's not digital, and then definitely the anesthetic because that'll change quite a bit if it's in the sun and gets hot. You should have a separate refrigerator for anything that is not food. So it can be like a small refrigerator. Some composite materials, orthodontic band glue, it just has a higher shelf life if it's kept cool. Glass slabs are for cement mixing because it helps slow down the setting time. And then definitely some impression material needs to be kept refrigerated, but it'll tell you on the package. All right. Well, I think that's it for this lecture. It was a pretty simple lecture, so that's awesome. And if you have any questions, email me, give me a call. I'm going to publish everything for you guys to be done for the week. All right. Have a good day.